301. I'd like to bring the October 2nd TAC meeting to opening and ask if there's, I believe we have a quorum. We do. Are there any public comments on the agenda? And it's an informational agenda this morning, so I don't see any action required. I'd like to welcome Ms. McQuinn. Thank you for coming. Good morning, everyone. We haven't met for a while, so any conflict of interest declarations? The committee members? Seeing none. Let's go back to our June 5th, 2019 meeting minutes. So if we remember this meeting or reviewed these minutes, we'd like to approve these minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, it's approved. All right, moving in, before we go to the next informational update, I'd like to mention that there's been a discussion on the at the school level about the meeting for the TAC. The requirement is quarterly, and so we might adjust the schedule to do quarterly plus as needed when there's items that need to be approved and brought to the actual school board. So I believe that's going to be the new schedule, and so so I'm not sure what that means for the next meeting, but we'll come out with the date.
Marlene generally schedules the meeting as needed, and there's board items are going, and you guys have to look at it. She schedules accordingly, but we just want to make sure that we follow the policy, which requires at least quarterly, a meeting quarterly.
Okay.
So we'll do it more as needed.
Okay, so any questions on that? So keep a lookout on our calendar for the invite so that we have the next meeting scheduled. Okay, wonderful. Let's move into item 301, educational technology updates. And that will be Dr. Adam Miller.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone this lovely morning. Hope everyone's having a great week. I'm going to present some updates around on the work the education Ed Tech department has been completing. But I just want to start by recognizing some of our team members that are in the audience. Most of them are out at school sites, but I was able to round up a few. Kim Culp, Mike Goldstein, Bill Goulian, and John Decker. They're part of our Ed Tech team. Some of these gentlemen have been with the team for a long time. I just want to recognize Bill Goulian. If anyone, most people know Bill. He's been around forever, and he how many days you got left, Bill? He's counting down. 32. Yeah. So it's going to be a big hit to the school district when he retires, but we appreciate his work and the team. I just want to take a moment for that. So thank you. So our Ed Tech, we always start with the discussions of. There we go. Discussions of what drives us, and we always start with our district vision and mission. And in Ed Tech, we do believe, we envision all learners will reach their highest potential. And how we do that with the mission is that our work is to help the teachers provide a world-class education with excellence and equity to empower each student to reach his or her highest potential. We have some additional drivers in our team. The strategic plan, strategic initiative number 4, is about providing digital and blended learning opportunities, utilizing current technology, and that guides all of our work. And a personal driver for me is the last time the school district was accredited, improvement priority number 1. I'll read it to you briefly. Ensure that students have the opportunity to develop skills in innovation, collaboration, problem solving through instructional strategies that are engaging and differentiated according to student need, with an additional focus on the use of technology in support of learning. That was shared with me specifically when I was hired into this position, so I am making sure that will not be improvement priority number 1 next time around. So those are our drivers. Which comes first? Part of our work, when you're working with technology, Is it really about the technology? Is it about the kids? We always say it's about the kids. With our work with teachers, though, we always say, when you're planning your lessons, what do you start with? The technology you have in your classroom or what you have to teach? And it always starts with that standard at the bottom of the bottom of the pyramid. That's your base. And teachers, it's been a while since I've been a teacher, but when they plan a lesson, they start with the standards they have to teach. They distill that into a learning goal for the day, and then a task or tasks for that day. And then whatever those tasks are, that should indicate to them what tools they're using, whether it's a Chromebook, a smart flat panel, paper and pencil, oral discussion, anything like that. And that's really our message with our Trailblazers and other teachers we train is, it always comes about pedagogy first and what you're teaching, and the technology should make sense to what you're teaching. Some great things that have been happening in our school, in our team, in our school district. Our Trailblazer program focuses around Google Certified Educator, the Google Certified Educator program. We have over 2,000 Google certifications in our district. Where's Mills? Thank you, sir. So we have over 2,000 Google certifications. That's more Google certifications than any school district in the entire world. And that was back when we had 500 Google certifications. I may have explained this before, but I do enjoy explaining it this way, so please bear with me. When Google the way Google figures out which district has the most Google certifications, they look at the domain name, and the domain name is at palmbeachschools.org. So the most number of Google certifications per domain name is at gmail.com, of course. The second is at Yahoo, and the third is at palmbeachschools.org. That's worldwide. That's pretty cool. So I want to share that. Google certified educators don't end with the educator piece. There's also a trainer piece. So after they get Google certified level 1 and 2, they can be reserved a trainer certification. They have to complete a coursework, a test, and they have to do video training that they have to submit to Google. Has to be approved. Our long-term goal is to have one Google certified trainer in every school in our district to support our program. Right now we're at 22 Google certified trainers. I know you're going to say that's not a lot. However, we've started a Google certified educator trainer program. We just put out for a second time as well. We have 70 candidates that are selected into our personal program. We're going to take them through the coursework and help them through. They still have to pass the test and submit the videos themselves. So we're hoping 80 to 90% of those 70 candidates will make it through this school year, so we could up that number of Google certified trainers to maybe 70 this school year, which will take us well on our way. Trailblazers specifically, so we added about 675 new Trailblazers this summer. That brings our total to 2,400 Trailblazers across our district. If you remember the focus of the Trailblazer program, it's really about pairing deployment with training. We don't deploy any technology without the training, and that's where the Trailblazer program was born from. But 2,400 Trailblazers. I'm going to ask Mike Burke. Does he know how many teachers we have in our district?
Teachers about under 13,000.
Right. So we're about almost 20% of our teaching force is Trailblazers. Thanks for that help there, Mike. I appreciate it, sir.
Sweat.
And I think the power of the Trailblazer program is not only the training paired with the deployment, but the collaboration. The Trailblazer program came as a collaboration between the IT departments, teaching and learning, and ed tech. So you can see here, working with IT, we deployed lots of Chromebooks to elementary and secondary Trailblazers through the program. You can see our Google Certified Educator information again. We also started a Leading with Technology Trailblazer program to ensure APs, principals, and other district staff are aware of the Trailblazer program and how they can support their Trailblazers in their schools. Thought the screen would be bigger, but I'm going to kind of drill in with you guys if you bear with me. This is a graph showing our Google Apps usage. I'll take you across the different axes first. We see this is March of last school year, April, May, June, July, August, and then to September 23rd is the last time we ran this report. And this shows weekly active users of different Google apps. We have 0, 20,000, 40,000, up to 120,000. Draw your eyes over to this side. Towards the end of the school year, if you look at the blue line, which is Google Drive apps, that includes Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Sheets, and the purple line is Google Classroom. We were hovering right around the 90,000 weekly active users mark for the majority of last school year, which was huge improvements from years before. You can see now where we're coming in. Google Drive apps are now right at the 100,000 weekly active users mark, and Google Classroom is over 113,000 weekly active users. That shows that this work is not really just, we did a training and people did it for a month and stopped doing it. This is a true movement across our district, and we're very excited about that work. Here's some more evidence we use Twitter quite a bit to share the great work that's going on with our trailblazers across our district. You could just see some of the work. Where's the mouse? Here it is. So up here, we have a teacher at Manatee showing, using Google Keep. Here's a teacher at Everglades, very excited to receive her Chromebook cart after her Trailblazer training. Here's a teacher, I forget where Robin's at, but there's a smart panel and the projector being used simultaneously with Chromebooks in her classroom. Here's a teacher at the conservatory school. She received an email at 7:45 at night from one of her students sharing a Google Slides presentation that the student was very excited to share with her. And Gypsy Lane Band, she's at a South area school. She's one of our ESE Trailblazers, and she's super excited for the devices and the training she's received to help support her students. Also part of our work, we work around audio enhancement systems as well as the smart panels, the Chromebooks, document cameras. We do that work through the penny sales tax. The school district is open to holding schools, one for Verde Elementary and one for Washington Elementary, while their new schools are being built. And we work very closely with the principals. Another shout out I want to give to Kim Culp and Mike Goldstein from our team for working daily with those principals to make sure they're set up. We've really tried to equip each holding site to make sure they have the tools necessary for instruction each and every day. And sometimes it's, previously I was at a school as a holding site, and it's not as much fun sometimes when you're at a holding site. So we're able to give them Chromebooks for every student and just make sure everything, technology is there that they need. This year, the AV bid, I think, is going out next week. We are going to be refreshing our large format projectors in our cafetoriums and our media centers across the district. We're going with the Epson PowerLight. It's a laser model, so for any of us who have been in schools, especially in the cafeterias, sometimes those projectors get kind of old, and I'll be honest, they're very high up, so you need a cherry picker, I call it a cherry picker, to get up there and fix it if anything goes wrong. With these new models, there won't be any maintenance needed until approximately 10,000 hours of use, and that's just for filter cleaning, and the life of the projectors is about 20,000 hours. So hopefully that'll reduce on the needs for renting those cherry pickers and coming out to move them quicker. And I think the principals are going to really appreciate the HD resolution, for those projectors in both the media centers and the cafetoriums. And of course, that's thanks to your penny at work, which is awesome. Our smart flat panels, we deployed over 3,800 flat panels as of yesterday. Please remember all elementary, middle, and high school trailblazers received them last year as a way to pilot and provide training for the other staff in their school. All media specialists and media centers received flat panels. We will be finishing up, we did all trailblazers last year, and then we started rolling out to all instructional areas in every middle school. We finished that up in the middle of this month, and then we're going to be moving on to elementary schools. Another update, something that's kind of going very viral across the world, is esports. you know, it's considered a sport. It's the fastest growing sport in the world. The second bullet there, you know, more viewers watch a League of Legends World Championship in 2018 than the Super Bowl. That's just amazing to me because I love football. We really want to take a look at, you know, can we do esports here? What, you know, how does that help instruction, and how does that, you know, for me, esports, I see it as a way to engage with students we wouldn't normally engage with at our schools, because the gamers that play esports, they're going to go home right after school and they're going to game. So they're not the ones that we get to engage with, unfortunately, as much as we'd like. So this might be an opportunity for us to do that. So we partnered with our buddies in IT, looking to do a pilot to see, you know, what the effects are on our infrastructure and, you know, pedagogy as well. So we submitted a grant for 10 schools to be part of this. We're looking for, we've engaged with some business partners as well as some other colleges to support that. And if anyone is interested in working with us, it seems like every day another person emails us that wants to be interested in working with us on this. So it's big. And in case anyone knows, the last guy who won the Fortnite competition, he won more money than Tiger Woods did for winning the Masters. So there's scholarships, over 1,600 scholarships nationally offered for students through esports, and it's going to be at the Olympics, not an actual medal earning sport, but it's going to be at the Olympics next time around. So it's going to be a medal earning sport soon. So we want to see how we can support that for our students that are interested in that. And finally, something I am super excited about is coming up on January 6th. I'm going to hold up the poster. Is our next full tech conference on January 6th at Santa Lucia's. Please come and join us. The call for presenters has gone out. Registration has gone out. We are looking to make this the biggest and best tech conference ever. Trying to get, you know, those robots that kind of like cut each other in half and rip them apart. Trying to get that as a draw. We have some esports going on. We have some new pieces to the tech conference that we haven't had in the past. We also have tracks for school techs. We have tracks for teachers. We have tracks for administrators. Tracks for teachers that are not trailblazers. And we're just looking for other opportunities to engage with other folks around the tech conference. So if you can make it, great, sign up. If you guys want any posters for your organizations, be happy to provide them. Just let me know. So that's our EdTech updates. Does anyone have any questions?
I was just kind of curious. You mentioned the esports.
Mm-hmm.
What's that look like as far as trying to get more? How are we going to host that here at the district, or after-school programs, or? Right.
So what we're intending for a pilot is an after-school club or after-school program. We're looking, part of the grant is to buy the computer, but you can't just have a regular computer box to run it won't be fast enough for the students to game. So that's part of it. And we're looking at, I believe, 2 groups of 5 student stations in each school that we want to pilot. So they have an opportunity for multiple groups of students to participate in different programs. I'm not sure if I fully answered your question.
No, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm curious. Thanks.
Right, and we are staying away from, you know, the shooting games, things like that. There's quite a bit of games out there that have nothing to do with that. They're all about strategy and cooperation and communication, which is powerful.
Neat.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, David Willem, you step up. We're going on to the referendum update, please. Thank you.
So I do want to start by saying I'm forming an esports team here at the district, so anybody that wants to join, so we can take on these kids.
The EdTech team might be able to beat your team.
Yeah, all
I
right.
know the kids are going to see this, right?
We can do quality of service on the network, so we can affect that pretty well. All right, referendum update. It's been a while since I've been here and talked about our referendum update. As part of the 10-year referendum project, we did receive $33.8 million. So in the grand scheme of things, that was about, I think around 3%. As of this year, fiscal year 20, we're up to about 22% spent on that. And probably the biggest change that we've done so far is the school phone system and PBX upgrade. It's actually a replacement of the full system, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go here. So we got 5 main categories here for the updates. Back-end infrastructure, everything in the district that we support. EDW, PeopleSoft, SIS, everything that we run from this building and South ITV and from Northwest Regional. Our equipment's old. We're upgrading, we're growing capacity, we're getting newer equipment in and making sure that we're at the latest and greatest. So some of our completed projects over the last couple of years, we did the upgrade here at Fulton Holland for 2017, and that was basically a replacement of our full virtual environment and making sure that we can support the district. We have about 3,000 virtual servers within our district, so we're pretty big. We did a SAN refresh, and that SAN refresh was at all 3 of our sites. That system was over 10 years old. That's our storage for everything that we do. Backup hardware upgrade, that's another big one that we have completed in the last year, making sure that we have backups and the availability of it and the retention. Current projects on this, we're doing the firewall upgrades at all 3 sites, making sure that we can handle the loads that are coming based on all the new Trailblazer projects and the new Chromebooks and everything that's coming into the district. Adam, your team, everything that you just said is great. We have to build the highway out to make sure that everything is going to work within the district. So that's a big one for us. And then South ITV hardware refresh, that's another one that's going on. We actually placed the order just last month. And again, that's business continuity, making sure that we have the latest and greatest hardware there for business continuity. And then our future project with this is going to be Northwest Regional. Hurricane season's winding down for this year, but we want to make sure that we can fail over and be able to run anything that we would need to at our site in Tallahassee. Network routers, switches, and cabling. This has been an ongoing project for many years. We're bringing all the school cores up to 10 gig. We're making sure that we have the availability and the bandwidth. We're expanding the highway to make sure that with all these things that are coming into the schools that we can handle everything that's coming across our network. With that, we have to do a cabling replacement at all the schools. Most of these schools are 20 years old. They can't handle speeds over 1 gig. So we have to have those replaced. We have to have all the wiring replaced. All of this is bid out. It's on the E-rate contracts. We do E-rate because we get 20 cents on the dollar. We have to follow their rules, but things are going well. We've completed 86 schools for the cabling, and then following up with the core switch replacements, we've done 52 schools. So it's a dependency on the cabling to be able to do the switches. Again, current project, we're continuing on with this. The goal is to have all of the schools up to 10 gig, hopefully by October of next year. That's the goal right now. And then the switch replacement, obviously the same goal, following up in the schools. Future projects, we want to go to the IDFs. The schools have IDFs also throughout the building, making sure that, that's where when you plug a computer into the wall or an AP in the school, it goes back to the IDF switches and making sure that we have the bandwidth on there as well to handle all these new devices that are coming in. So that's one of our future projects. One of our other future projects is looking at the new E-rate rules that were released this year. So it's a 5-year window, and we want to make sure that we're planning for the 5 years, and we absolutely want to take advantage of the E-rate because, again, it's 20 cents on the dollar. We just have to follow their rules and their timelines and work with them. School server replacement. This was a very successful project that we did. All the schools are replaced as of right now. So we've done all the high schools, middle schools, elementary schools in support of various virtual machines at the schools, backups, school food services, cafe manager, things like that, file share servers. And we're going to start planning again. We're on a 5-year cycle with that, so we'll be replacing those as well in the future, but not until 22. Our guys are real happy they don't have any to do this year. Phone system and PBX. This is probably the biggest project we have on our plate right now. And I know I've given a couple updates on the phone system. It's old. It's outdated technology. And this was probably the biggest project that scared me coming in as director of IT infrastructure here. It was definitely a necessary project that needed to be completed. And we're making great headway with this. Primary milestones right now, we've been doing marketing throughout the district for the last 6 months, making sure people understand that this is coming, that we are going away from a different system. We're getting rid of dialing 9. Nobody does that anymore, at least not to my knowledge. You won't have to dial 1 anymore for long distance. It's going to be basically like using a cell phone, right? So making sure that people understand that the change is coming. The changes are small, but you have to understand them. So since February, we've done a purchase, installation, and configuration here at Fulton Holland and at South ITV, the key being resiliency and redundancy. We want to make sure that we don't have problems with the phone systems. I don't know how many people in here are aware, but we've had lots of problems. We have problems on a weekly basis with the phone system, and that's because of the age of it. So when we go to the new system, a lot of these problems are going to go away, at least I hope. And so far it's going very, very well. One of the things we did with this was we did installation in-house. So Avaya AT&T came to us and said, we can bring this into your data center and drop it in, and then we'll do all the management of it. Or you can buy it and build it yourself, and then we'll still do all the management of it. Well, we saved $569,000 by doing it ourselves. That's something that we do really well here. We do a VM environment. We handle our servers. We do that very well. So it was a huge cost savings to the district. The pilot deployment. It wasn't a replacement at Verde, so the holding schools. We actually did our pilot deployment on those schools, making sure that the phone system was going to work, the multiple cores, the 911, everything like that. Just trying to work out all the bugs, get everything ready to go. We did the Dwyer High School upgrade this week, and I actually went out there. I wanted to be there and see the full experience, and worked with Corey Brooks, the principal out there, and sat and talked with him for a while. It went very well. We replaced probably 140 phones. It's one of the larger schools that we had to do. It took about 4 hours. So going through that, just kind of working out more bugs. We place documentation down by every phone, making sure that people, when they're coming in and getting on the new phone, they understand the differences between what they had and what they're getting now. Most people were receptive. I was walking around the teacher lounge. There was a couple harumphers in there, but not bad. Anytime you change things out, people kind of get frustrated. But for the most part, I think everything went well. And as we move forward, it's going to get better and better every time. Faxing was upgraded. That was all completed in August, so people are already used to that. All the fax machines here in the district and at the schools is working great. So, really the Dwyer High School upgrade taught us a lot. We're going to be moving forward with 3 other pilot high schools in the North region, and then keep moving on. So I don't have the schedule up there, but that is our current project. We're doing the pilot high schools in October and November, and then we're going to do the remaining high schools through March of 2020. So it's approximately 1 school a week. A lot of that relies on AT&T and being able to port the numbers over. So, it's a lot of us and it's a lot of them, and waiting on them and working with them. Future projects, middle schools are next, and then elementary schools, and then the district offices and the auxiliary sites that are out there. So everybody's going to be on that new phone system. Yes?
First of all, great fortitude going to the teacher's lounge.
Snake pit.
Where you're going to hear
It
the
was a snake.
grumpers.
It was a snake
That's
pit.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, and full disclosure to the rest of you, you know I'm North County, so I'm so excited that all three North County high schools are in there. A question, though. Jupiter Middle School
Yes, ma'am.
is over 40 years old. That's what I was looking up on my phone. I think it was 1976. And my grandson went to Jupiter Middle, and I was on SAC, and we simply would have no reception with our phones or anything. What do you do with an old school like that?
Reception on what phones? On a cellular?
My iPhone?
Yeah, so that's a completely different project, and we have been addressing some of that. We've been looking at that. That's a big complaint from a lot of the schools that are out there. Unfortunately, we don't really have much to do with the cell signal in the schools, but we are looking at different alternatives for that. This is strictly the wired phones within the schools, not for the cell phones.
But coming back then, and again, remember that I'm partly on this committee so that I learn more about
Yes.
technology. That's why I'm on Finance Committee, too.
Yeah.
So I learn. But I report out at board meetings. So, for example, testing took forever, standardized testing, because of not having the capacity with computers in an old school like that. Have we resolved all of those kinds of issues? I'm talking 2 years ago, so
Okay.
no panic.
So, well, I'll answer. I know, and I'm going to get to it with the wireless. I know from a wireless capacity and a network capacity, I think we're okay. But I'll let
Yeah.
Chris answer on the refresh. I don't
All
know
the
that.
schools submit a plan, and last year was the smoothest testing. Every school followed that plan, and it was like almost near perfect last year. The year before, we had one day, we had one outage, one day, but that wasn't major, and the plan is always adaptable, I guess you could say. So every school submits a plan, but last year the plan was near flawless for every single school in the district. So there is a bulletin coming out in February. We have it in draft right now. That'll be for the infrastructure trial. We'll be doing this all over again this year. So.
And I appreciate that because, again, North County, we're pretty easy, actually, except for, of course, the parents. So I realize this was a little out of place, but the calls I get are, I can't get my child on the phone. So thank you.
Yes, yes. Let's see, where was that?
You're down at the
Yeah,
bottom.
okay, future projects, middle schools, elementaries, and then the facilities here and auxiliary sites as well. Wireless access points, so Ms. McQuinn, this is where, we're talking about that. We're doing all the wireless replacements. So Jupiter Middle School would have been one of the ones that has been replaced, and it does have the latest wireless technology in it. We've completed all the high schools. We've completed all the middle schools. Right now, we're waiting on USAC, which is E-rate, and their approval to go in and blow out the elementary schools and make sure that they're on the latest version of our access points that we have. And we're doing that. Even the installations are done on a bid, and they're done through E-rate. So we have that all in place for the elementary schools as well. I will say that, to reiterate what Chris said, this was by far the most successful testing that we've had in the district, I know, since I've been here. So things went smooth. We can put 400 or 500 kids in the gym now with the proper equipment. With the proper equipment, we can do that and test successfully. So it's definitely gotten better every year that I've been here. I do know that, not because of what we've done, but maybe a little bit. But I think it is improving, and we do understand the need in the schools. We talk about what Adam Miller and his team is doing with the flat panels. That all relies on the infrastructure, everything that we're putting in the schools. And I know getting out to the schools, I sit there and I see it on a daily basis, and I go, it's amazing how much technology is in these rooms now. And if we have a blip, if we have a problem, things can come to a crawl. So part of my job is understanding that and making sure that we can have the resiliency to be able to handle anything that's coming, anything that is happening now and in the future, and we're constantly planning for that. So, future project, the next E-rate window opens January of 2020. It's a 5-year window, And we have to start planning for what's going to happen in the next 5 years and start putting together our plans for what we're going to be putting out in the school districts. A lot of the access point replacements that we've done in the last 5 years are on current technology. I'm going to get a little technical. It's 802.11ac, which is the standard for now. The desktops, the Chromebooks, anything that's going out right now is still on that standard. 802.11ax is the next one, and that's going to provide greater density. It's going to provide better penetration. It's just going to be a next level up. So when we talk about cell phones going from 4G to 5G, that next 802.11ax standard is going to be much greater, and we have to plan for that. Even though there are no sales of any endpoint devices for that right now, I want to make sure that we're there and it's in place, so when these teams do go to that standard, that we can make sure, yeah, we're ready for it. So that's in the next 5 years. That's going to be some planning coming up for us. That's the referendum update I have for now. Any questions?
I know we're getting rid of the PX system. When is it when the individual schools are traded out? Like if I call Dwyer now with the PX, is it going to work, or?
If you call Dwyer right now as a PX, yes, because it depends on if you're calling. So if you're in a building, an old building, one of the ones that hasn't been cut, you can still dial that 5-digit number and reach somebody at Dwyer. As we go further and further and further into this, you're going to have to switch to the 7-digit dialing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big concern for us. One of the things with the phone system as well is all the documentation that's out there as far as the PX numbers being on the website, being in email addresses, signatures, letterhead print. So the marketing and trying to get that word out has been huge. We've been trying to get everybody. You can't order business cards right now without putting 7-digit dialing on there. No more PX numbers. That's been a huge challenge for us as well.
No more questions? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And we're going to get an esports team.
Okay, next up, the Windows 7 end-of-life update by Mr. Prasad.
Okay. So Windows 7 was here for a long time in our district, and there's still a lot of machines around that have Windows 7, and it is going to end of life in January 14th, 2020. So we're right at the cusp of that right now. So there's two things I want to discuss with that. Is the servers. I know Dave Wilhelm has the server team working on the 2008 R2 servers end of life, and then we have the Windows 7 end of life. So this is, in an ideal scenario, we would just replace everything and we'd be perfect at this point in time. Well, we don't live in an ideal world, so this is kind of the best option we came up with. So these are the number of units that would probably need to be replaced to get everything to where we would need to be, and it's a lot of units. So we've come up with a couple different options, different alternatives, and we've already kind of started a district plan within the district to address this. These are our current prices and our current devices that we're currently buying, but it's $50 million, so we're not doing a $50 million option. So, so these are the models that we have. We have about 5,000 of the oldest model within the district, and elementary schools still figure a way to use these things. They just keep using them, and they get the life out of these machines. I mean, I think we've got our money's worth on some of them. And then there's another. This was a long model line I think that they purchased, and here's the age of them. Then we have some machines that can be upgraded within the district. So we're going to do upgrades on 36,000 units. And beyond that, one of the reasons I know testing came up a little while earlier, this 5430 laptop, it was 7 years. That's what caused a lot of heartburn in testing, was that model. So we're actually going to be replacing those units now. So that was the issue. I know Dave's probably, hooray, jumping for joy now that they're going to be out of here. So. But last year on the bulletin we do not want to support those models for testing, and I think that made a big difference for us because we were able to get more devices out there to get that going to where it needs to be. So one of the things that we talked about was There's 33,400 devices that are older devices that won't support Windows 7. They won't support Windows 10. They support Windows 7 currently. So what we're doing is we've come up with a product that Google has an interest in. They own part of the company. It's called Cloud Ready. And basically, you take an old Windows desktop and you can convert it to a Chromebook, basically, is what it is. So it's on the wired network, and it becomes a Chromebook. So it limits the impact of taking out devices at the schools. 33,400 devices is the exact number. We're about 20,000 units converted over to Cloud Ready right now, and so far, I mean, we've got a little bumps in the road. The resolution's a little off a little bit, but overall, it's been pretty successful. The students already know how Chromebooks work. They already know how to log in, so it's the same process. So we're not retraining anybody on this. There's like, oh, looks like a Chromebook. Let me log in. It's my Google ID, and let me log in. Oh, here's all my stuff that I do every day anyways. So this is our timeline of where we are right now. So we started in April, and the number that we actually kind of came up with that needed upgrades was probably about 60,000 that were really needed to be really addressed. Some were replacements, some were upgrades, some were the cloud ready. So it's about 60,000 units is what it is. We've communicated with all the school techs at each location, given them all the tools, say, here's what you need to do, and let us know how things are going with that. Then we've removed our Windows 7 images off of our imaging systems here. We use Avanti here. And so schools don't have the option to even go back to Windows 7. So that was one of the pieces we did. We're still gathering data. There's still outliers. We find, there's this machine that does something for something somewhere. It seems like everywhere we look. So it's kind of a tough thing. And so that's kind of where we are right now. But the schools are moving on this. During the summer, we put a big dent into this thing, which was really good. And there's a bulletin that's in draft that we're going to be putting out pretty soon, just to reiterate the point that Windows 7 will no longer be allowed on the network. And I guess in December is our finalized timeline. So we have some Nag Windows that pop up on people who are running Windows 7, so they see it and they're just like, oh, I got to actually do that. So to get to that point. And that's the Nag window, actually. We put it in there so you can kind of see this is going to pop up as of October 1st, so as of yesterday, I believe. So, if you're running Windows 7, this will pop up and it'll tell you, hey, you have 95 days, whatever day that screenshot was taken, to get these up to date. That's it. There's not much else to it. Any questions?
Is there a cost for Cloud Ready?
Yeah, Cloud Ready is a little under $5 per unit per year. It's an annual cost, and the Google management license we buy through our Google right now too. So there are two costs. One of the perks with the Google management license, if we decided to, say that machine only lasted a year and it broke or whatever happened, Google will let us recoup that license for us, which was like very attractive. That kind of made it so you're looking at really $5 of sunk cost to keep a machine going for another year. Mm-hmm.
Google license is around $25, right?
Correct. $24 is what we pay in the district.
Thank you. Mr. Padgett?
I had one question. I assume that you had on here security is out of the scope for TAC. I assumed you mean by that public discussion of it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
We just had a closed session with board actually last Wednesday.
Yeah, to the point, just want to it's out of scope. I just want to let you know that the reason why we're doing that is because it is a supported operating system on older hardware. That's the main reason to go to a supported operating system that has patches and updates and everything else.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you. Up next, the update on the IT Summer Intern Program by Mr. Soley.
Yes. Hi,
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Normally, I only get to see you once a year, so I'm really pleased to have a second chance now to tell you something more about the intern program. DPAC wanted me to give you an indication of what some of the things our interns that have graduated have gone on to do with their vocational lives. And we do think we make a big impression on them here. And I'm just going to show you from the beginnings to just even this year what some of the interns, a sampling of them, have been doing. Well, first of all, we began to take interns on just kind of two at a time back in 2008. And then in 2015, we stepped up to have our own program instead of borrowing from facilities. And we've been taking 20 to 30 on since that time. We've just completed the 5th year of a full-scale program this year. Our interns this year had an opportunity to work in 12 different job classifications. You can see that on the right-hand side: AutoCAD intern, records management intern, et cetera. And over the term, we've had 126. Back in 2008, Sal Sedano came to us. He was an IB student at Forest Hill High School. He was in his senior year with us. He came back and worked actually his 2nd year as a temp with us when he was at Villanova University. Sal was very strong in every way and definitely headed to a computer science future. While he was in college, you'll notice there at the bottom that he started his own company and worked it while he was in school. I knew about Sal, and when he graduated, I asked him to come back and work for us, but he was already hired in New Jersey. Herbie Raymond, the truth to be told, really wasn't an IT intern. The chief of facilities office couldn't keep him busy enough, so they asked me to take him on and give him some other work. I was happy to oblige. He's a really sharp individual. You can see that he's got a brilliant career going, working for some really high-tech, well, at least some high-profile companies up in New York City. I think he made a good impression at Harvard because they had invited him back to be in the business school class of 2022. Hunter Jarrell, and I know Michael Fowler is going to recognize that face, was an intern with us 1 year, then came back to be a temp the 2nd year. He's in his senior year at the University of Florida, majoring in software engineering. He's working there with one of the business units of the University of Florida. In the summer, he was an intern at NextEra. He's also in charge of one of the software clubs there at the University of Florida. Davey Yu is truly a genius. He's just a brilliant individual, full of energy, gets involved in everything in a broad array of interests at that. You can see he's volunteered at Vanderbilt to run their hackathon. He's involved with all kinds of research projects. I'm really impressed when he tells me he's working on multi-scale molecule simulations down there on the 3rd bullet. And he keeps his qualifications up. He's going to be quite a find for somebody that wants to hire him when he graduates very soon. Natasha was actually a presence here for several years because not only did she intern with us, but she came back during the school year to do some more CAD development in one of our programs for us. So we were seeing her on a periodic basis, even during the week. At the University of Florida, she's in computer science engineering. She's had several internships, as you can see. And I'm surprised. She's not the wallflower type, I can see, because she's on the Panhellenic Council. She also raises puppies for the Southeastern Guide Dogs. Natasha was one of our interns from Suncoast, and we get a lot from there. In 2018, just a year ago, 2 interns in the PMO worked side by side, Melanie and Diego, and they were juniors as they came into us. This year they graduated, and you can see they're going on to college. Melanie is at the University of Florida, and I caught Diego on a plane heading to Los Angeles just last weekend when he was getting ready to start his orientation at Caltech. Now, this year, this young man is very impressive. He was an intern with us in security, very energetic, had a glowing recommendation from his mentor, Dina. I had a call from the principal at Coral Sunset Elementary saying, "What do you know about Joshua Dominguez?" And I said, "Well, I don't know as much as Dina does, so let me ask you to call her." So she did. Joshua noticed a job opening at Coral Sunset for a tech support, applied for it, caught the interest of the principal, seeing that he was going to have the qualifications, and he was hired. So he's now a full-time employee. And I'm sure that Joshua's eagerness and his skill and his knowledge are just very infectious there at Coral Sunset. What's next? Well, we'll be back in 2020 with our program. Well, it's getting pretty well standardized now. We do have an initiative starting. We want to be working throughout the school year to make more opportunities for the tech interest of our students. We think that there's a lack of co-op education opportunity here in South Florida. Most of the co-op schools and college programs are up in the Northeast. Why wouldn't one of our 4 schools here in the county, or even Florida Polytechnic up there in Lakeland, want to be in a niche of starting a co-op? So we're going to try to push them in that direction. We were happy to be a bellwether for the district internships that Mike Burke and the superintendent started this year, adding 42 more interns to the program here in the district. Are there any questions?
I just want to say thank you again. Under George's leadership, the IT internship program, and well, I guess maintenance started first with our career academies, and then IT, but now it's expanded district-wide, and the whole blueprint and everything was laid out by George, and he's been an invaluable resource for the rest of the district. And it's something we want to keep trying to grow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
PJ?
I was hoping to make a comment. I'm the PJ Dialis, Director of FT and Student Reporting. I'm also the President of the Staff Association, Palm Beach County, which is our district administrators. And we thought this was a great program that our membership really got behind, because we were able to see students in action, and we don't always get to interact with students. So for some of our departments, really seeing that end product and end result and how we benefit and how we can actually mentor. And there's been several mentoring opportunities that's come out. I know in IT, you guys are heavy in that, and I just want to give you credit for that. So on behalf of our students, our staff, and everybody, we really applaud and stand behind this program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's probably a little off topic, but I know the school district solicited some input from industry on the certifications, IT certifications, and so I think that goes hand in hand with the opportunities these students are getting. Sure. And so I think, like I said, I think it's a little bit off topic, but the more we can give these students opportunities in those areas, I think sets them up to do awesome things that you're seeing that they're doing. It helps them compete a lot, I think.
Absolutely. Agreed.
And I know, Michael, you are one of the founders of Palm Beach Tech, and we work hand in hand with you, basically. So,
awesome. Thank you.
Okay, that's all for the updates. I believe, so the next meeting, it's just a placeholder, November 6th. We'll see if we move that to the December timeframe for the actual next meeting. And with that, any motions to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
That was good.